don't know. I might have to sage my house again. I did it yesterday. Okay, if anybody is listening to me right now, I only wish the best. Oh, hello. Hey. Bestie, you're back. Thanks for joining me today. Just getting myself ready here. Oh, look very tanned. Hi, welcome back. I'm Clar. Thank you for joining me. What do we have on the menu today? Well, I thought we would talk about witches. We've done Salem. I have always been obsessed with the Pendle Hill Witch Trials. So I thought we would do a deep dive into the history and the hauntings. I have become obsessed with them ever since the Most Haunted Live crew went and did their Halloween special there. Maybe I was in my teenage years. God, that was a while ago. Anyway, I'm going to link the video because you can actually watch the 3-part series on YouTube. The video quality is not great, but it's great with Yvette and Derek Accor. Love them. Anyway, so I have been super obsessed with the history of the Pendle Hill Trials, and I thought, let's dive in it together, shall we? Also, do you like my shirt? One of my good friends bought it for me. She knows me too well. Look at that. And yes, I do have a cat. A demon cat. No, I love her. She's somewhere. Let's get into it. We're doing the Pendle Hill Witch Trials. So the Pendle Hill Witch Trials actually happened 80-ish years before Salem. It was a wild one. Shall we get into it? Let's do it. All right. A sip of coffee because I'm filming this very late at night because I have my day job. Unfortunately, this is not my full-time job. Maybe one day. All right. We're going back to 1612. The Pendle Hill Trials had exploded. Okay? What started as a peddler collapsing turned into a full-blown witch panic. And honestly, it wasn't about witchcraft anymore. It was about fear, control, and a little bit of politics. Of course, it always is. King James had only been on the throne for about 9 years, and from what I can tell, he was obsessed with witchcraft before he became King of England, and he believed the devil was actively recruiting people through witch covens. So when Roger Nowell, the magistrate, discovered what he thought was a Lancashire witch coven, he saw it as his big chance to impress the crown. Clearly, King James was obsessed with witchcraft. He had been executing witches in Scotland before he was King of England, supposedly. And that's when things turned nasty. Let's rewind to early 1600s in Lancaster. The area in the shadows of Pendle Hill lived 2 rival families, both with reputations of witchcraft. The Demdikes and the Chattocks. Yes, those sound made up, but they're not. They're very real. At the head of the family was old Demdike. Her real name was Elizabeth Southern, and she was in her 80s. She was known for her charms, curses, and healing magic. So she already had a bit of a reputation. Locals said she could cure sicknesses or cause it, depending on whether you crossed her or not. On the other side was Annie Whittle, nicknamed Old Chattocks, who was just as feared. The 2 families hated each other. They fought over begging routes, customers, and in one case, stolen cloth, which this stolen cloth actually sparked the entire witch trials, this one case. In March 1612, a young girl named Alison Device was walking along the road near Colin when she asked a peddler for some metal pins. And if you don't know what metal pins were used for back then, pretty much charms for healing rituals. That's what they were used for. When he refused, she supposedly cursed him. Moments later, he collapsed, paralyzed. And that's all it took. In the eyes of the village, witches were real, and the floodgates opened. After the incidents, a house meeting at home, Malkin Towers. So Malkin Towers sounds cool. It sounds like a castle, but it wasn't. It was half-ruined, ramshacked cottage on Pendle Hill, which is the location. The word Malkin sounds cool, but it doesn't mean what you think it means. It means dirty woman. Not the kind of place anyone wants to be associated with. Apparently, the family slaughtered a stolen sheep for food and invited friends and family over. But of course, in the climate where everybody was terrified of witches, people started whispering. They always whisper. They like to talk, even now, right? When you do something different, people love talking. They were told the whispers that started to spread were pretty much they were holding a Sabbath. They were holding witches, a witches' Sabbath. One rumor, just one, was enough for a number of arrests to occur. The local magistrate, Roger Norwell, started digging. And let's just say he didn't need much to build his case. He hauled the entire Demdike and Chattox family for questioning. Old Demdike, Alice Device, Old Chattox, Annie Redfern, all accused of witchcraft. And under pressure, they confessed. Easy back then when they weren't educated. They didn't know how to read or write, so maybe a bit of coercion was involved. Demdike herself supposedly says she sold her soul to the devil. 20 years passed, and her familiar spirit, a creature named Tib, appeared to her in the shape of a black cat. Wow, okay. Not doing anything for yourself here. Okay, Norwell wrote all of this down in his report and later published by Thomas Potts in The Wonderful Discoveries of Witches in the County of Lancaster, 1613. Potts called them notorious witches whose evil deeds had caused great calamity. But it gets worse. During this imprisonment, the family's own relatives turned on them. On Good Friday, a meeting took place at Malkin Tower. When authorities found out, they claimed it to be a witch's Sabbath. A meeting with the devil himself. Anyone who attended was immediately accused of witchcraft. He interrogated everyone, including children. God. 9-year-old Janet Device was dragged into court, placed on a table so the jury could see her, and made to testify against her own mother, brother, and sister. Janet said her mother kept a familiar. And if you don't know what a familiar is, it's pretty much like a witch's friend, a witch's helper. Has anybody seen Harry Potter? They have familiars. You know, the owl. I think Ron has the frog. Harry has Hedwig. And Hermione has a cat, I think. So Janet said her mother kept a familiar, a black dog spirit named Ball, and that her brother had made clay figures to curse people. I wonder if they made her manipulated what she was thinking that she was seeing. When she pointed at her mother, Elizabeth Device completely broke down. Heartbreaking. Screaming and cursing from her cell. Imagine your own child accusing you of these things and pretty much sentencing you to death. It is heartbreaking. Ooh, makes me upset. Okay. Thomas Potter, the court clerk, wrote in his records of the trial, "The wonderful discovery of witches in the county of Lancaster." Don't think that's wonderful. "The little girl, Janice Device, upon whose evidence the greatest part of the witches were condemned, stood with such confidence as amazed the beholders." Direct quotes. But he didn't write that Janet later ended up accused herself. 40 years later, she would be accused of witchcraft herself and died in prison. The cycle never stopped, pretty much. In August 1612, 10 people were found guilty and sentenced to death. Hung at Lancaster Castle, among them Old Demdike, Alison Device, Old Chattox, and several others from their family. Devastating. Oh, this is giving me chills. It's making me sad. Just a little bit sad. After the hangings, Pendle went quiet, but not for long. Locals began whispering strange lights were seen moving up the hill, said it was witches returning home. I don't know. Spirits? Maybe. Farmers refused to go near Malkin Tower. Animals went missing, crops failed, and people swore they saw women in tattered clothes wandering the fields, face pale, eyes black as cold. Over the centuries, the legends only grew. Travellers reported seeing figures of an old woman on the hill, vanishing the moment you blinked. One 19th century hiker even wrote in his journal that he heard a woman's voice say, "You killed us, now we walk." I've got chills reading this. I only ever wish the best. It's very sad that these people were subject to this back then. Very sad. I feel very emotional. I don't know about you, if you guys are feeling any of that. It's really weird. It's really weird reading this. Sorry. I don't know why I'm feeling so emotional about reading this. Usually this is a lot of fun for me. We get to hang out, but I don't know. Might have to sage my house again. I did it yesterday. Okay, if anybody is listening to me right now, I only wish the best. Love and light. I tell your story, because you were innocent. You were innocent women trying to survive. The church at New Church in Pendle, known for its Eye of God windows, still has locals who refuse to walk past it after dark. Of course, the residual energy, the emotion that these women carried, being accused and not being able to prove that they were innocent. Horrible. They say the window was built to keep the witches' spirits from entering. Fuck off. I mean, aren't we all a bit of a witch these days? I sage my house. That's a pagan thing to do. Cleansing the energy, the spirits, the bringing positive energy into our homes, right? It's a pagan thing. Because it's different, people talk, people think you're different. Anything you do in life. If you try something new, if you're successful in a different way. Ew, this is cold. Let's continue. I'm feeling very emotional reading this about these women. And modern paranormal teams have caught some seriously eerie stuff. Voices saying burn or witches, cold spots, shadowy figures, and footsteps following them up the trail. Even skeptics admit that Pendle Hill feels different. It's like the ground itself hums with memory. The Most Haunted Live with Yvette Fielding and Carl and Derek Okoa, who was their psychic. They caught some compelling stuff.
Jeez. Oh.
God, I'm still feeling sad. Okay. Get it together, Clar. Let's do this. This is meant to be entertaining and informative. All right. Anyway, so we're going to get into the Most Haunted Live episode. They did a seance. I wouldn't do a seance unless you know what you're doing. I really wouldn't recommend it. I've never done one. I probably never will do one unless I'm with somebody who knows what the hell they're doing. But they did it. I think they did a seance at Malkin Tower. That's where it must have been. It was so strong it was taking them out one by one, pretty much.
Glass jump, Elizabeth. Can you make the glass move up? Try and get it off.
All right, let's get into the Most Haunted Live investigation, since we're talking a little bit about some of the hauntings that are going on. I will link it in the description so you guys can watch it yourself. It's a 3-part series. The video quality is not great because it was filmed so long ago. Maybe almost 20 years ago. God, time flies. Okay, so if you ever watched The Most Haunted Live, you know some of the wild stuff that they have caught. But in the Pendle Hill episode was out of this world. It was on a different level, and I don't know if that's because they did it over Halloween. You know, the veil between our worlds is very thin. So in 2000, it was in 2014. Okay, so over 20 years old. Whew, wow. Wow. Okay. Most Haunted Live filmed a 3-part Halloween special at Pendle Hill. They investigated the ruins of Malkin Tower, Lower Wellhead Farm, and the surrounding lands. All of these locations were connected to the 1612 witches. Things went sideways. Objects moved on their own. People were physically touched.
You right, John? Okay. Oh! He's got it again. Okay.
Physically affected. You see them getting picked off one by one. Where they're doing a seance, you see crews getting picked off by the witches, the supposed witches. Lights were caught flickering. Derek also got possessed. He is the medium, so he was taken over by, I think, Demdike. Tell me what you think in the comments when you watch it. Come back and tell me. One of the crew members, Stuart, collapsed, and he said he felt something entering him. A lot of them feel that, like being touched or entered or cold spots throughout their experience. Yvette later said, "It was the most terrifying night of my career. Something followed us out of Pendle Hill that we couldn't explain. During one of the vigils, the crew heard a growl through the EVP recorder." Yes, I do remember hearing that. It's wild. Deep, low, and almost human. We're still here through an EVP. So EVP, if you don't know what that stands for, is electro voice phenomena. And usually you can do it through a recording. I don't recommend doing any of this unless you have some experience. Ghost hunting is fun, but you also need to know how to protect yourself, you know? And the eeriest thing locals report is strange lights on the hill. Of course, like their energy, their spirits. It said that once you call the witch's name, they remembered you. This is what Yvette said. Some fans who watched the episode even claimed they had knocks or footsteps in their home for days after. Pendle Hill doesn't like to be disturbed. Yes, I feel a bit weird right now talking about it in my safe space. But I think we need to talk about these things because they were innocent people. They were innocent women trying to survive who were accused of things that weren't true, in my opinion. All right. Let's continue. I just feel so emotional talking about that. And the weird thing is, as well, in the episode, if you watch it, people feel the emotion. And I guess when you think about it, it's a dark history that these people went through. It wasn't fair on them. It wasn't fair on anyone. It wasn't fair that they were accused of these things. They were just trying to survive. Let's continue. I protect myself and cleanse this space of any negative or dark energies. I am the light and the love of the Lord. Amen. Sorry, I'm just feeling very overwhelmed and emotional. This isn't going to be the episode I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a little bit funnier, but I'm just feeling so overwhelmed. Reading the history, I'm getting emotional again. I'm gonna cleanse myself after this. Let's finish this episode off together. I love having you here. Today, Pendle Hill looks calm. Rolling fields, fogs, tourists hiking the summit. It's a beautiful place during the day, but at night, it's quite eerie, clearly. But the energy is said to still be extremely heavy. Yes, the heavy history that just doesn't go away. Locals say the wind whispers, and if you stand near the ruins of Malkin Tower at night, you can hear chanting. This is also what happened in the Most Haunted Live episode, that people heard chanting. Oh, okay, I'm getting shivers. And that shadowy figures walk the ridge in the moon, and locals still say that they see shadowy figures walk the ridge, and locals say that they still see shadowy figures walk the ridge. Even the Pendle Hill Inn has stories, glasses shattering when people mention the trials, lights turning on by themselves, and voices whispering. It's haunted by injustice. That's why I say that there's still residual energy, and this is why we're talking about it today, to keep the story alive so it never happens again to these innocent people. Those women weren't monsters, they were survivors. Healers, outcasts, easy targets, really, just like the Salem witch trials. That's what they were. They were just trying to survive, provide for their family. They used herbs and charms, you know, to make a living, because that's all they had. But they were outcast, they were seen as witches, and that was their label, and that was enough. You know, being a healer back then, you were seen as different, you were seen as a witch. We have alternative medicine today, natural ways of remedying yourself if you're sick. Not seen as witches, but back then, yes, because it was not known. So let's finish this off. So maybe when people see the flashing lights or hear the voices, it's not evil. Maybe it's just them reminding us about what happened. That fear won, and for this to never happen again. And I'd say Pendle Hill isn't just cursed, it's alive. The energy is alive. Have you ever visited Pendle Hill? Did you see anything? I would love to hear the stories. And if you ever visit, maybe you'll feel the hills watching back at you. Just remember to always respect them. They were innocent people, innocent lives were lost. Only love and respect from me, from everybody here. So what do you think? Were the witches guilty? I'm going to say no. I think they were just trying to survive a very harsh life any way they could. And the way they could was providing herbs, helping sick people with alternative medicine. Do you think they still walk Pendle Hill, protecting it, haunting it, or is it warning us of the past? Let me know. I got emotional through recording this episode, telling the history about the Pendle Hills. I've certainly felt overly emotional. I started out super happy. It's tragic. It's tragic. I read this before, which kind of made me freak out because I didn't know. If you speak the names of the Pendle Hill witches, they answer back. So maybe that's why I'm feeling a little bit emotional, telling their story, telling their history, trying to give them the utmost respect, honestly. Only love and respect. Have you visited Pendle Hill? Have you had any experiences? If you haven't been to Pendle Hill, you haven't watched the episode of Most Wanted Live, but you're watching this episode, write down in the comments below, are you feeling any sort of way like I have been feeling throughout this? I hope you enjoyed this episode and into the history and hauntings of Pendle Hill. I loved having you here. Thanks for hanging out with me, coming along with me. Remember, if you like my content, please subscribe to my channel. It really helps. Remember to follow me on all my social media. You'll like it, I'm funny. Anyway, that is it. I'm wishing you love, light, and happiness. I'm going to go cleanse myself. So have a good night, and I'll see you in the next one. Love you so much.